The world of Valorant is a lot more complicated than it seems. For a really long time, the Valorant protocol were conducting their missions without the knowledge that there is a second Earth consisting of an identical counterpart of each agent. The story is kind of confusing and it gets complicated really quickly, so I'm going to try my best to explain it without you guys getting lost along the way. Before the Valorant protocol ever existed, the world was normal until a major event occurred known as the First Light. The First Light was a massive supercharged radionite event that caused a huge flash of light which could be seen from all around the globe. This caused a massive blackout everywhere for a few hours before everything came back on again and everything seemed to be back to normal. It was after this event where radiance began to emerge and over time led to the creation of the Valorant protocol. It's theorized that the First Light event also resulted in a split in reality, becoming what's now known as the Mirrorverse. Basically, the Earth was copied and pasted onto a new universe. In this universe, there is an identical Earth, and for each person on the normal Earth, there is an identical copy on the new one. The main Earth, which is home to the Valorant protocol, is Alpha Earth. The second Earth, which is the copy and exists in a different universe, is called Omega Earth. It's important to know this difference because I'll be referring to it several times throughout this video. On Alpha Earth, the First Light event basically only caused somewhat of a major inconvenience by having a global power outage that lasted only a few hours. This was then resolved on its own like nothing ever happened and everything went back to normal in a way. However, this First Light event which occurred on Alpha Earth also occurred on Omega Earth. Unlike Alpha Earth, the effects of the First Light event were catastrophic for Omega Earth. Their entire climate began to collapse and sea levels rose so high that entire coastal cities were on track to being completely submerged underwater. On Alpha Earth, an organization known as Kingdom Corporation made it their primary goal to harness the power of radionite, which they discovered around the time of the First Light event. Using radionite, they were able to make massive advancements in science and energy, while at the same time trying to keep knowledge of its existence a secret. While Kingdom Corporation became very successful, they were not viewed very positively to the public's eye, as they believed that the organization was not acting in the best interests of the people, particularly after the Venice incident where the public found out that radionite was involved. Initially being told that radionite was safe, they now viewed it as very dangerous, and as Kingdom Corporation's public image started to fall, its CEO tried to ensure that radionite is perfectly safe. On Omega Earth, this same organization is known as Kingdom Industries. They also have a similar goal as Kingdom Corporation, using radionite to advance science and energy. But unlike Kingdom Corporation, who expands their projects and disrupts communities, Kingdom Industries aims to use radionite to save its own world and its people. Due to the catastrophes that the First Light event had caused, Omega Earth was quickly plummeting into an apocalypse and their world needed saving. This is where the Valorant Legion come into play. Remember, on Alpha Earth we have the Valorant Protocol. On Omega Earth, the same team is called Valorant Legion. The Valorant Legion works with Kingdom Industries to help save its people. One of the most notable stories of the Valorant Legion stem from the map Pearl. Pearl takes place in Lisbon, Portugal on Omega Earth. Every time you play this map, you're actually playing on Omega Earth, not Alpha Earth. As the city was being destroyed by massive waves and floods, the Valorant Legion stepped in to help save its people. Omega Phoenix used his powers as a source of light and heat to help people escaping find their way and to stay warm. Omega Sage used her powers to build massive walls to hold back oncoming tides to prevent people from drowning. Omega Omen would teleport all around the city and save people who were submerged in the water or being swept away. And Omega Jet used her wind powers to push back the water and make clear paths for Lisbon citizens to escape to safety. It is for this reason that when you play the map Pearl, you will find massive statues of these four agents as they are seen as heroes to the public eye for saving them. The Valorant Legion is well known by the public about their existence and powers, and they're viewed as heroes. On Alpha Earth, the Valorant Protocol on the other hand is kept massively a secret from the public, where their existence is mostly unknown. Considering how on Alpha Earth the public already view radionite as dangerous and have condemned Kingdom Corporation for it, we can guess that they won't be too happy knowing that there's a large group of Radiants with powers that exist. Now, let's talk about the difference between the Radionite on Alpha and Omega Earth. They're actually not the same. On Alpha Earth, the crates that store Radionite are seen as these greenish glowing boxes. On Omega Earth, the same crates which store Radionite are orange, which is interesting as it implies that the Radionite from the two worlds are not the same. The Radionite on Omega Earth is actually a lot more powerful than the Radionite on Alpha Earth. We know this because Omega Earth was able to use its Radionite to create interdimensional teleporters, which allow people to travel from Omega Earth to Alpha Earth. An example of this can be seen on Fracture. This teleporter exists on the side of Fracture belonging to Kingdom Industries from Omega Earth. I'm going to explain how Fracture ties into this lore in just a sec. What's even crazier is that Omega Earth is able to travel across the multiverse, as depicted in this historical timeline that we see in the museum on Pearl. So not only is there a Mirrorverse here between the two Earths, there's also the multiverse, which right now Omega Earth does have the capability of traveling to. I'm going to leave it at that so it doesn't get too confusing because that's all we need to know for this lore. Alpha Earth has its own teleportation systems, but it's very limited and it can only transport people between a small distance. An example are the teleporters that you see on the map Bind. They move you from one spot to another within a rather small distance, whereas the teleporters that Omega Earth have allow them to travel between two completely different dimensions and universes. Another example of the power of Omega Earth's radionite is once again seen on the map Pearl. The entire map is a massive underwater dome. And it's not just that one dome, there are several of these domes along the coastline of Portugal which were created to protect the people and save them from the rising water levels. These domes also have tunneled connections to each other in case of an emergency so that people can escape and move to other domes if needed. Using radionite, they were able to create these massive structures as well as control the oxygen levels, monitor the integrity of the dome, control the water salination level to make it drinkable and usable for plant growth, and keeping reality in control. This last one may be confusing, but basically radionite is not 100% understood and it has not been perfected. The use of radionite in an improper way causes these disturbances in reality, such as strange energy auras which appear and gravity seeming to fail. In order to control reality from the improper use of radionite, well, radionite is used, and this results in a massive loss of radionite supply. Omega Earth is facing a huge problem aside from its own climate, which could result in the total destruction of everything and lead to the end of the world for them. And that problem is radionite supply. They simply don't have enough to save themselves. And the only other place that has an abundance of radionite is Alpha Earth. This is where the clash between Alpha and Omega Earth happens. The Valorant Legion uses their teleportation powers to travel from Omega Earth to Alpha Earth in order to steal their radionite. The way they steal the radionite is by using the spike. The spike was invented by Omega Killjoy, where its detonation secures all radionite within the blast radius and transports it back to Omega Earth. While the spike itself isn't necessarily a bomb, this does not mean that it's not destructive. A great example of this can be seen in the Duelist cinematic where Phoenix goes on a mission in Venice, Italy to take on a rogue Radiant. Now remember, at this time, Phoenix has no idea of this Mirror Earth. He takes on Omega Jet in a one-on-one fight and ends up losing due to his overconfidence. This resulted in Omega Jet successfully planting and detonating the spike, which led to a huge chunk of the city being lifted from the ground, causing a countless number of people to lose their lives and homes. This event is referred to as the Venice Incident, which, as explained earlier, led to the public going after Kingdom Corporation for the danger that radionite poses. The Valorant protocol began to tighten up on their missions, and every time the Valorant Legion are detected in their world, they face them in teams. The Valorant Legions used to have agents come in solo, but after the Duality cinematic where Phoenix came face to face with his identical Omega copy and realized the truth of what's going on, Omega's Phoenix complained that they are being attacked by several protocol agents at once. Omega's Viper acknowledged this and said that from now on they will be attacking using teams of their own.
Yo, we got problems.
We? You're the one that screwed up.
You serious? You had it easy, Jet. You know they're bringing whole teams now, right?
And so will we.
Basically, every time you play Valorant as an attacker, you are playing as Valorant Legion agents trying to steal radionite, and if you're defending, you're playing as the Valorant protocol. But these roles are reversed on the maps Pearl and Lotus, because these two maps take place on Omega Earth. So on those maps, the Valorant protocol are the ones attacking and stealing radionite back, whereas the Valorant Legion are the ones defending. A huge plotline that may not be well known to most people is that the public are not aware of what the Valorant Legion are doing on Alpha Earth. On Omega Earth, the public view the Valorant Legion as heroes who are working to help save the world. The museum on Pearl has an announcement which calls the Valorant Legion's missions to Alpha Earth as expeditions. This is interesting because they've made it sound to the public that the Valorant Legion are traveling to another world to obtain radionite in a way where it's explorative in nature. Whereas in reality, it's not exploration, it's violence. The Valorant Legion are killing civilians and destroying cities in order to steal Radianite to benefit themselves. I just think it's amazing how the public blindly accepts this and continues to praise them as heroes, where on their world they might be heroes, but on another one they're simply murderers. The Valorant protocol also used to work with incorrect intel on the Valorant Legion's plans. You see, the Valorant protocol thought that the reason that the Omega agents are coming to their world to steal Radianite is so that they can build a large weapon of destruction. In the Shattered cinematic, where Killjoy is finally able to power her own teleporter to travel to Omega Earth with the help of Neon's electrical powers to activate it, the two of them along with Reyna travel to Omega Earth only to find that they were wrong. The Valorant Legion and Kingdom Industries are not building a massive weapon, they're building life support systems.
A minute. Gotcha. Downloading coordinates. Now, what are you up to? Reality stabilizer, hydroponics, desalination. This isn't a weapon. It's a life support system.
They come across the map Pearl for the first time and are confused as to how their copies are publicly known and praised as heroes, whereas they are seen as enemies and a threat. And technically, both sides are kind of in the wrong here. Omega Earth wants to save its own people and its world from the catastrophe that it's facing, which is a good thing. But they are doing it by killing and destroying cities in another world, which is wrong. Alpha Earth is defending itself every time Omega attacks them, because they want to save their own people and cities as they should. But now they are taking the fight to Omega Earth themselves on Lotus and Pearl, and attacking them on their world to take Radianite back, which is wrong. At the same time, by not giving Radianite to Omega Earth, they are probably directly contributing to the deaths of people on Omega Earth. But again, they were unaware of the situation for the longest time, so technically Alpha Earth is mostly just defending themselves, not knowing the state that the Omega Earth is in. And this leads us to the final part of this lore, which is the Everett Lynn project that takes place on Fracture. Basically, Kingdom Industries reached out to Kingdom Corporation through a connection between two of their members to propose a plan to work together. They came up with a plan to build a machine known as the Radiant Collider, which would benefit both Alpha and Omega Earth. This project was very secretive and extremely hidden from the public. There were Kingdom scientists and staff from both Alpha and Omega Earth on Fracture working on this project, and even they were not allowed to communicate with each other besides a very few select higher-ups. As the project went on, Kingdom Corporation and Kingdom Industries were very pleased with the progress, and they were even planning celebrations on launch day. On the day of its official launch, Alpha and Omega Chamber teamed up together to sabotage the entire project.
Incredible that something so small can create such opportunity. Their efforts were noble, but sacrifices must be made. Such a pity.
The reason they did this is still unknown to us to a certain extent, as Fade mentions that Chamber has a very deep and strong reason for doing what he did. The two Chambers shot their tour de force at the same time, hitting the Radiant Collider, causing a massive blackout and explosion of the machine. This explosion was so strong that it ripped the entire surrounding area into two, and killed nearly everyone on site. On Fracture, each side of the map interestingly resembles the state of each world. Alpha's side of Fracture is green and has vegetation and overall looks normal, whereas Omega Earth's side of Fracture looks destroyed, dry, barren, and even lifeless. Considering the failure of this project, it looks like Omega Earth will eventually start to get desperate in stealing Radianite to save itself. And we can now see this desperation kicking in. In the Incursion cinematic, we got a warning from Killjoy that Omega's Valorant Legion has once again infiltrated Alpha Earth, and this time they're attacking from all over the world. It looks like a huge battle is going to take place as Omega Earth tries to steal Radianite to save their world, while Alpha Earth tries to protect its own people and stop them. Considering how they now know Omega Earth's motives, I wonder if there will ever be a moment of truce between the two of them and they actually work together. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I really hope I didn't lose you guys with this lore. There was a lot to cover and I left some specific details out because it's not really that important to know right now. I just want to make sure you guys get the overall big picture. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks for watching.